Noticeable differences between the Pygmy Bigfoot and the other Bigfoot.
What are you doing?
You might be too young for this, but do you remember the website called rotten.com?
Peace, treasure trove.
Hey, welcome back to another Bryce Is Right. I hope y'all all had a great freaking week, and I hope y'all ready to dive down deep into some of the creepiest and freakiest videos I could find in the deepest, darkest corners of TikTok. And nah, these aren't your ordinary videos. They're gonna be blowing your mind, making your head spin, and having you question your reality. But of course, before we get started, let's go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss out on any future content, and please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let us know what's up. And other than that, let's go ahead and dive right in, y'all. Let's get it.
RF engineering is literally sorcery. How does injecting an AC current on a piece of wire allow you to communicate over the air with another piece of wire? Just drawing an F with metal will allow you to transmit video and audio over the air to another F made of metal. It's crazy.
That's impossible, Rhonda.
Yeah.
According to multiple storm models, we're getting between 1 to 3,850 inches of snow this weekend.
Brace yourself.
This is by far the creepiest video you are going to see today. I swear to you. This is coming out of Abilene, Texas. A hiker was just randomly filming his hike when this other hiker comes up to him and gives him a very quiet warning. But what happens afterwards has everybody questioning literally everything. What would you do in this situation? Would you continue, or would you turn around and hike out of there? Comment below. Let us know.
Don't step off the trail.
Does that remind y'all of anybody?
I'm sure you heard the warning, but then when he turns around, nobody is there. What the heck? This is literally Appalachian vibes.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it again. Comment below. Tell me what you think.
It's like a Deja Vu feeling.
Don't step off the trail.
I'll be right back.
No.
Choke that chicken, girl.
What are you doing? They're torturing chickens, man.
What are you eating?
A chicken. But it's not the same thing.
Oh, wow. That's so freaking funny.
There might be a cure for Down syndrome because scientists have discovered that restoring a specific protein could rewire the brain in Down syndrome individuals in a way that restores them to normal. And this research is just downright shocking. So if you want to read the actual paper, it's this very wordy one here, and we're going to be talking about pleiotrophine quite a bit. And we're also going to be talking about the fact that several Down syndrome features are actually linked to a hyperactive antiviral immune response in the brain. So Down syndrome typically is caused by an error in cell division during developments where individuals receive 3 copies of chromosome 21 instead of the normal 2. And one of the major changes to neurons because of that is they alter how they connect with one another. Specifically, what we're talking about today is brain cell astrocytes, a little bit of a mouthful there. They're kind of star-shaped cells, like the branches that go out and connect to the other brain cells. And scientists identified that there is a very specific protein called pleiotrophine, or PTN for short, that is known to help guide axons, which are those long extensions that neurons use to send information to one another, and those get disrupted in individuals with Down syndrome. So the research team decided to genetically engineer an adeno-associated virus into a small virus that delivers the information to code for PTN, which is kind of a way to make your body naturally produce it. And what they found is that delivering this virus that increases PTN production to the astrocytes of mice, at least, can reverse the neuron structure and functions seen in Down syndrome and restore them either to normal, or since they're mice and we can't talk to them, somewhat close to normal, effectively rewiring the brain, which is just absolutely wild. Now, this is a mouse study, first of its kind, a long way to go before human beings, but there's a real chance that we might literally just be able to be about to cure Down syndrome.
So they really do have Down syndrome in mice? I'm assuming
Ready? Ready for it? Bam.
Like on Saturdays and Wednesdays.
Wait, what?
Scientists just discovered a hidden tectonic plate that they're saying vanished 30 million years ago, and it's still sliding underneath California, and they're saying that it makes the big one even more likely. So these researchers were able to find something called the Pioneer Fragment, which is a chunk of an ancient tectonic plate that scientists thought disappeared 30 million years ago. Turns out it's still there, and it's moving. They're saying that it's stuck to the bottom of the Pacific plate, being dragged underneath Northern California right where the San Andreas Fault meets the Cascadia subduction zone. If you're not sure what 2 + 2 is, that's one of the most seismically active regions in the entire country. Scientists actually first initially thought that there were 3 tectonic plates meeting at this spot. It turns out there's actually 5, so I guess it's 2 + 3. And they're saying that there is a completely hidden fault line that wasn't on any hazard maps until now. They're saying that this ghost plate is likely caused by the 1992 Cape, I don't know how to pronounce this, Mendocino earthquake. And by the way, that earthquake was magnitude 7.2, and it caused $75 million in damage. And basically the point of that is that researchers are now saying that it makes a magnitude 9+ megaquake way more likely. The lead scientist on this is comparing it to an iceberg. He's saying that you can see a little bit at the surface, but you have to understand what's underneath to get the full picture. Okay.
Encino Man.
Hey, Erica. Oh my god, not you again. What's this movie you filmed in 2010? November Renaissance. You were the main character, Evelyn Mathis, and it was all about corporate espionage, assassins, nanotechnology used to control people's minds to help financial institutions stay in power. That movie was never released. We know, but why do most of the people who worked on this set have connection to Fort Huachuca, the base that is a major hub for intelligence for the military? And you were seen there 2 days before Charlie was, and you claim to not know anything about it even though you lived right by it for many years and your mom worked there.
Stop.
In the world of tomorrow, the mind has become a hard drive linked to the internet, and the once present divide between technology and humanity has become next to non-existent. Sounds like Neuralink. I heard that a lot of experiments are going on in Hawaii at a hospital next to a military base there, which is interesting because a lot of the migrants are being shipped there. But anyway, driving this world forward are the many emerging multinational corporations that have grown in power far beyond the control of world governments.
Stop.
In this reality, financial institutions vie for dominance through corporate black ops. These clandestine endeavors are carried out by figures known as proxies, cloak and dagger assets that are hired in secret to remove rivals from power or protect corporate capital from harm.
Y'all kind of look alike though, that's the weird thing.
Columbia Engineering developed a self-contained, soft artificial muscle that is 3 times stronger than human tissue. This 3D printable material expands and contracts on its own, enabling soft robots to move and lift like biological muscles.
We're closer and closer to Westworld. Turtle power.
This man got on this motherfucking. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter.
You see HR pop up. Sir, we actually don't condone
Recent
this.
study by MIT revealed that after 4 months of frequent use of ChatGPT, users had a 47% drop in neural connectivity and a marked inability to recall content they had just generated. This is a series where I take internet clickbait and I do all of the actual research for you so that you never have to wonder again if that piece of clickbait was valid or not. This piece of clickbait comes from this massive 215-page study, but don't worry, we're just going over the Cliffs Notes. This study specifically looked at how using 3 different kinds of tools impacted how well you wrote essays and how much neural activity there was while writing the essays. The 3 tools were a language learning model like ChatGPT, a search engine like Google, or just the power of your own brain. They looked at 54 participants and split them up into 3 equal groups. Unsurprisingly, they found that the brain-only group had the most neural activity while writing, followed then by the search engine group, followed then by the language learning model. But then they did a very interesting thing. They swapped the brain-only group with the language learning model group. And after 4 months of doing this exercise, they found that the brain-only group still had far more neural activity while writing an essay compared to the language learning model group that was now writing with their brain only. Even though that language learning model was now only using their brain, they still did not have have the same neural activity as the original brain-only group. They also had trouble recalling what they wrote when they were using a language learning model and consistently underperformed in neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels, suggesting that using a language learning model not only has short-term effects in how well you can use your brain, but may have long-term effects. Also meaning that this piece of internet clickbait is in fact 100% valid.
Man, I was kind of leaning the opposite way. I actually showed ChatGPT to my wife, you know, and it was just like production city. But now it's like being used a little too much, maybe?
Look guys, the meerkats are named after Slender.
Men in Black was one of my favorite movies.
Daddy hit the 4-piece treasure trove.
Ah, what the hell is that? My ass. Get the hell out of here, doofy.
Why do jellyfish need sleep? The hook here is imagine a creature without a brain that sleeps just like you, and scientists have discovered that jellyfish do exactly that.
It's a core paradox in biology, to be honest. It's like, why do we sleep? It's a very simple question, but if you think about it from an evolutionary point of view, it seems naively really dumb to do. Okay? Because sleep is a state, there's behavioral vulnerability. You're not like aware of stuff. Something could come and kill you. You're vulnerable to predation. It ceases foraging. You're not getting food. And also, you're not having sex. So you're not really procreating.
Yes.
Right? So what's the point? And yet it's conserved across 600 million years of evolution. We have whales doing it, humans do it, and now we've got jellyfish do it. Right? And the traditional view was it's a neurocentric view, meaning it has to do with complicated neural mechanisms, right? The synaptic homeostasis hypothesis, which is the idea that over the day, your neurons are constantly learning and your synapses are growing. And if you just let it just keep growing and growing and growing, then you're going to get this runaway interaction. So you need some way to constrain them. And maybe sleep was one way to constrain our synapses such that the signals don't propagate in a chaotic way. But now we've got this new finding, which shows that sleep is actually a fundamental cellular requirement because of DNA repair. And it's happening even in these brainless basal metazoans. So in this case, jellyfish, but they also did the experiments on sea anemone, and they found very similar results.
This is in Nature Communications, published on January 7th.
I go back and forth about sleep. I don't know why these videos are popping up like crazy, but they are so interesting. I want to do it with my cat, but I know that this song is going to get copyrighted. I'll have to put a disclaimer.
These are historical facts that we were taught as children that are, without a doubt, not true. The Declaration of Independence was not signed on July 4th, 1776. It was signed on August 2nd, 1776. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb? Absolutely not. He was the inventor of the patent for the light bulb and the longest lasting light bulb, but there were a multitude of other people who were making light bulbs, like Lewis Latimer, Humphrey Davy, and multiple other people. The Spanish flu originated in Spain. No, the first ever reported case was in Kansas, United States. It was mislabeled because racism. This one's crazy. No people were burned at the stake during the witch trials. Absolutely nobody was burned at the stake. They were all either hung or unfortunately killed by other means. That we were taught this last one. In a blanket statement, we were taught that Abraham Lincoln freed all of the slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation. But that's not true. He only freed a lot of the slaves in the Confederate States, and it wasn't until Congress passed the 13th Amendment in 1865 that all of the slaves were freed, legally speaking. At this point, we just all need to go back to school and just rewrite all the curriculum because we were fed lies.
Just a couple, not a whole lot.
What are you doing?
What?
What are you doing?
Shit everywhere.
Looks like he got beat up. was shit.
New study finds having a sleep schedule is a myth invented by women to stop you from becoming Batman?
I'm onto you, woman. You will never dull my shine. I'm vengeance.
Don't bring it up!
So this guy started a series of doing random things while his girlfriend sleeps after she told him she was a light sleeper and he was not buying it. So now to prove her wrong, he since rode his bike in the bed, got in a quick workout with a bench and all, practiced his golf swing, ate some cheese and wine, and literally watched TV in bed. And the only time she woke up was when he tried trampolining in bed, but apparently she still doesn't know about the series, so it continues.
Dude, that guy is a freaking legend.
You might be too young for this, but do you remember the website called rotten.com? It ran from 1996 to 2012. Rotten.com was a shock value, dark web-esque website that was extremely popular. The reason it was so popular was because it was basically the internet's darkest rabbit hole. On this site, you could find anything from autopsy reports to natural disasters, all of the above. The site itself was pretty basic. It honestly looked like something a teenager made. It was just the Rotten.com logo and then a bunch of hyperlinks. And the thing with these links is there was little to no description and there were no photos. So you would click on these links, not really knowing what you were going to see. Sometimes it would describe it and sometimes it would just be a link that said happy birthday. You would press on it and it would be something you could never ever unsee. Supposedly one of these links would take you to see Princess Diana after her car crash. However, many speculate that that was fake. That was the thing with this website is you didn't know what was fake or what was real. And this was just a normal website that anybody could access. You didn't have to go to the dark web to see what was on this website, which meant a lot of children went onto the site. I remember being very young and my friends asking, did you see that thing on rotten.com? I was like scared to go on it because I was so like afraid of what I would see. Because of how graphic and wild rotten.com was, there were people who were trying to sue them, get it taken down. But unfortunately, because of laws and free speech, that wouldn't happen and it would just continue on. It is until 2012 when the page was taken down. I'm not sure if it was taken down because it was forced to or just because it wasn't popular anymore. But yeah, so do you remember rotten.com? And if you do, what is one thing you saw on that website that you can never forget?
And the other one was fear.com, the one up in the top right, I'm pretty sure.
And why the fuck Ted Cruz on the plane?
I thought there was one more though.
I saw that video. Why he on that plane? What he know that we don't know? No, brother. Come back. Ain't no need to leave. You gonna have to be here with us and suffer the consequences, goddammit.
Man, I can't remember that other website to save my life. I didn't even hear a word he said.
All right, Jack.
What's wrong with Jack Black?
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Oh my gosh.
Man, he looks checked out. And Jack Black, I hope you're okay, man. Get some rest.
This fish is nightmare fuel, quite literally. These fish are tasty, but they can sometimes cage you in a loop of mirrored realms full of hatred and the shrieking of dying universes. I'm KP, a marine biologist, and today we're talking about a rare and poorly understood phenomenon with a name that I have no shot of getting right. Ichthyoalliantoxism. And that's my final answer. Also known as hallucinogenic fish inebriation. It is characterized by development of central nervous system disturbances, especially hallucinations and nightmares, that can last for several days and have been described as simply demonic. I'm talking about the sarpasalpa, also known as dreamfish. 2 cases of the terror this fish can unleash were documented in this case review published in 2006. The first case involved a previously healthy 40-year-old man who dined on a sarpasalpa while vacationing on the French Riviera. He felt a little weak and tired almost immediately after the meal. But that was quickly followed by nausea, dizziness, and vomiting. He decided to cut his vacation short and to drive home. That's when the real misery struck in what has been described as nothing short of a waking nightmare. As he was driving, he was bombarded by harrowing auditory and visual hallucinations of manic animals screaming at him. He quickly lost the ability to drive because he believed his car was being dismantled by a swarm of enormous trans-dimensional arthropods. And honestly, that sounds terrifying.
Somehow, the guy made it to the emergency room. Physical examination upon arrival at the hospital demonstrated no notable abnormalities. He didn't have a fever, there was no sign of sensory motor deficit. Everything was normal except for his heart rate, which was over 100 beats per minute. This tachycardia was directly linked to an extreme mental disturbance and soul-wrenching terror. Now, this poor man was hospitalized for 36 hours with only the screams of spiteful lobsters to keep him company. After a day and a half, he recovered with complete resolution of all symptoms, along with an almost complete amnesia of the hallucinatory period, and thank goodness for that, I say. The toxic nature of dreamfish is actually a defense mechanism. Many species have developed complex defense or attack systems involving not only sting apparatus, but also production of toxic molecules as weapons. And the presence of the toxin serves as a passive chemical defense, deterring predators from eating them.
That's scary.
Shit's getting weird. Part infinity.
It almost sounded like alcohol withdrawal or benzo withdrawal, but if only his heart rate was up. Nah. Dude, that is so freaking loud.
Here's a conspiracy somebody told me the other day. I was on set of a commercial. We were shooting a commercial for, what am I talking? For what, Keo? You gonna say the name before the commercial comes out and get in trouble and get sued? Bitch, shut your lips, nigga. He was telling me about, like, how the conspiracy is they keep coming out with all these, like, VR games and all these, like, first-person shooter games, all these things like that, because they want the generation that's coming up to enter the military, but as, like, the controllers of these drones and things like that. And I was like, I never thought of it like that. What do y'all think in that sense? It doesn't fuck with my mind. So and then I saw this video and I was like, because let's say if you have mad experience in years and years and years and you're really good, the military would definitely want you. They'd recruit you and be like, here, be our drone killers. Yeah. It's just a conspiracy, but I'm sure somebody's taking a deep dive with this. And I would also like to go on that dive.
No, not really, because everybody plays games and Asian people, I think, are
Why
better.
does everything fall to the ground at exactly the same rates?
No, not really.
Well, that actually is a clue that there's something much more interesting about gravity than just a force between things. It took the genius of Einstein, who started thinking about gravity 200 years after Newton, to realise that the way things fall is telling us something profound about the nature of reality itself. He realised that when things are falling, you can see that they're not falling at all, because they're all staying in the same place relative to each other. So it led into his theory of relativity. And so we thought, well, what better way to introduce Einstein's theory than to go and film that in action? There is a place where you can see with your eyes what Einstein saw in his mind. This is NASA's Space Power Facility near Cleveland, Ohio, and it is the world's biggest vacuum chamber. It's used to test spacecraft in the conditions of outer space, and it does that by pumping out the 30 tons of air in this chamber until there are about 2 grams left.
How do you measure
Galileo's observation that all objects fall at the same rate is correct, but it's far from obvious.
I've always wanted to see this because I felt like that would happen, right?
In this case, the feathers fell to the ground at a slower rate than the bowling ball because of air resistance.
Air resistance.
So, in order to see the true nature of gravity, we have to remove the air.
Drop 2 Militor in the last 30 minutes. 6104 manual, 10% open. Station 1, go for drop.
PCB 30-1, pressure set point at 240 psi.
Yeah, go for drop.
10, 9, 8,
Man, what if the pyramids just need computers like a
4,
command center like this to push a button and move all the doors? See how it looks like they're not moving at all? I mean, like they're just like a picture. It looks like somebody took the background out and let it fall, like in an animation.
They came down exactly the same. Wow.
Exactly. Exactly the same.
Feathers don't move, nothing. Look at that.
That girl's right.
And then we all realize, we're applauding the force of nature. So why are we doing that? We all knew what was going to happen, but it was so wonderful to see. Isaac Newton would say that the ball and the feather fall because there's a force pulling them down, gravity. But Einstein imagined the scene very differently. The happiest thought of his life was this: the reason the bowling ball and the feather fall together is because they're not falling. They're standing still. There is no force acting on them at all. He reasoned that if you couldn't see the background, there'd be no way of knowing that the ball and the feathers were being accelerated towards the Earth. So he concluded.
Man, that one, I like that a lot.
Listen to the sound it makes when I lock it.
What?
Have you been in your own rain?
Snow. Yeah, our own snow. It's actually way easier to make snow than it is rain.
Why is that?
So you know how the material freezes the liquid in the cloud?
Mm-hmm.
That means that the cloud has to be cold enough for you to freeze it in the first place, which generally means that it's cold beneath the cloud too. Now, with respect to rain, we're operating in Utah, Colorado, Oregon, California, and Texas. It's all rain in Texas, so we've been in our own rain there. Out in West Texas and the Trans-Pecos, the Panhandle. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty. It's got to be a weird feeling knowing that that's your rain.
Like I said, that's the second most important thing that I've ever done in my life.
What is the agent?
Yeah, so silver iodide. That is what has been used in one form or another for the last 60 years. Its crystal structure is almost identical to ice. So that plus a couple other material properties make the water freeze onto it very well. We use so little of it, about 50 grams per 100,000 plus acres, that there's no accumulation, no measurable or consequential accumulation in the soil for humans or for farms or for ecosystems. All that being said, though, well, actually, the first point is most cloud seeding operations in the past have used flares. So they'll burn a flare that aerosolizes the silver iodide. But in the flare, there's a bunch of other junk materials, right? People get concerned about aluminum or stuff like that in the flares. So we don't use that because we don't want any additional additives beyond what is explicitly and exclusively for rainmaking. So our aerosol dispersion system just uses silver iodide. Something that we're working on right now is totally organic material found in American soil that is biodegradable, that is more effective and actually costs less per gram than silver iodide. We have a bunch of lab testing to do before we roll that out to the field. And then we need to do all the regulatory permissions with the EPA and otherwise. But silver iodide is what we've used for the last 7 months.
When do you think you'll introduce the other agent?
January 2026.
Coming up, another 6 months. Nice. Let's talk about, some of the benefits of this, other than the obvious. What are some of the other benefits that this could bring to the world?
We'll start just with precipitation enhancement, making it rain and snow more, right? First of all, it's going to it already is preventing farms from running dry, right? So farms that need more water, we can produce more water for. All of the aquifers, I said at the very beginning of our discussion, in the American West are running out. And so once those aquifers run out, not only are they empty, which is bad because we can't pump more, but also because there's less pressure in the aquifer, the sediment will compress, and then you lose storage capacity permanently. So the longer there's not enough water in there, the less you can store in the future. So making it rain and snow more so that more water percolates into the aquifer, that is also super important so that we have storage capacity in the future. Hydroelectric, right? It's clean, stable, baseload power. I think that eventually nuclear is going to be like the primary way that we produce energy. But while we're getting towards that, making sure that there's as much water flowing through our rivers as possible so that we have as much clean hydroelectric energy, that's a huge one. And then also data centers and manufacturing facilities and specifically chip plants that use a lot of water, like Google Cloud Compute uses 25% of all of the water in northeastern Oregon. Yeah. So in the northeastern quarter of the state, they use a quarter of all the water, and it's all farmland, right? So you would think that the farmers would use like 99%, but Google uses a ton. So if we want to keep using the internet, and if we want to invest in AI, then we need to produce more water as well.
Is there a timeline on when these aquifers will be depleted?
Somewhere between the 2040s and 2070s.
So not long.
No. And we're not reversing the trend right now. We're slowing it down, but it's still being drawn down. Interestingly enough, Nebraska and Orange County are the two places in the U.S. that have great aquifers. Unfortunately, Orange County's aquifer is full of plastic, and Nebraska's aquifer is full of, pesticides. So not great, but at least they have the water. So yeah, without cloud seeding, we run out of water. That's number one. And then with respect to other stuff, like people have proposed means of doing hail suppression. So targeting a storm before it dumps golf ball or baseball sized hail. If you can freeze the liquid in the cloud into really, really small snowflakes before they freeze onto bigger stones and grow into bigger stones, then you can reduce the amount of damage done by that as well. That's another huge application that I think about.
Noticeable differences between the Pygmy Bigfoot and the other Bigfoot. The mouth is different on the Pygmy Bigfoot than the other Bigfoots. The head is bigger, the hands are stumpier. It's clearly the same species, but it looks different. It's noteworthy that there is more rust on the Pygmy Bigfoot than the other Bigfoot.
Smells like Bigfoot's dick!
Living fractal? Gives me goosebumps. I wish I could have zoomed in like this for the Matrix on something. So cool.
Oh, not completely?
Just grab the rope.
Grapple.
Whoa.
Coming in hot like a wrecking ball.
Fluid, dude. I'd love to die in this Taco Bell drive-thru right now.
Another airman working there shows Carl something life-changing.
About 30 minutes into the process, he said to me, in a very distressed way, by the way, we've discovered a base on the backside of the moon. And then he proceeded to put photographs down in front of me, and clearly in these photographs were structures, mushroom-shaped buildings, spherical buildings, and towers.
So Carl finishes the job and goes home. He was excited to learn more about these moon bases on the evening news. That news report would never happen. Then Carl realized there was a cover-up, and he was part of it. So he blew the whistle and started doing interviews. During a national press conference in 2001, he said he was willing to go before Congress under oath.
Does anybody remember this or remember like the stories, seeing photos, or anything around that time period? If you could let me know in the comments, please. I was trying to look for more information, but of course he pretty much nails all the good stuff.
I will testify under oath before Congress that what I'm saying is the truth.
He never got to testify.
No, here we go. Police say he's alive and well and didn't die in a mysterious unsolved case with no suspects.
Well,
He died in a mysterious unsolved case with no suspects, didn't he?
while on a bike ride near his home, Carl Wolf was hit by a truck and killed. But Carl wasn't alone. Dr. Ken Johnston also knew NASA was lying. From 1969 to 1972, Johnston worked with NASA as an aerospace engineer at their Lunar Receiving Laboratory. If something came back from the moon, he helped catalog it, including photos taken by the Apollo astronauts. And what he saw was stunning.
So he was the cameraman?
There were photos of alien cities and ancient machinery. There were ruins, domed buildings, stone towers, and objects that seemed to defy gravity. A supervisor asked him to destroy all the photos of the moon's surface. Johnston did, but he secretly held on to one set of pictures. After he came forward in 1995, Dr. Johnston was dismissed and never worked for NASA again. Donna Hare is another former NASA employee with secret clearance.
I was talking to one of the techs in there, and he drew my attention to a photograph, a NASA photograph. It had a dot on it. And I said, what is that? Well, he drew my attention to it. And I said, is that a dot on the emulsion? And he's smiling, and he has his hands crossed. And he said, round dots on the emulsion don't leave round shadows on the ground.
She said that NASA scrubbed UFO and alien anomalies from their photos, sanitized for our safety.
Wait, what?
And by its very nature, UFO, and I wanted to clarify that to a gentleman that was talking to me, means unidentified. So I did not know what this was. But I realized at this point that it's very secret, that it was kept secret, because I asked him, what are you going to do with this piece of information? And he said, we always airbrush these out before we sell them to the public.
We actually have showed that interview before, and there was so little context in the way it was scrubbed out that you couldn't hardly see as much of this information surrounding it that I wanted to show. So I'm just going to react to it.
Robert Dean was a U.S. Army major who worked for NATO. In 1964, he saw a report called The Assessment. This report covered an alleged 1961 UFO incident with dead aliens. Dean claimed that NASA destroyed 40 rolls of film from the Apollo missions. Some of the saved pictures are of cigar-shaped objects seen by Neil Armstrong. There's a picture of a disc the astronauts saw as they orbited the moon. There are also pictures of huge buildings in the Landsberg crater.
The astronauts in orbit above the moon were particularly fascinated by the Landsberg crater. There was construction going on. There were gigantic facilities in the crater up there, so they were specifically delegated and assigned to photograph Landsberg to see if they could figure out what the hell was going on down there. While they were looking at Landsberg, this object happened to express interest in them and flew by.
These were the pictures of objects that appeared outside the astronauts' windows. Time and again, mysteries of the far side of the moon were discovered and documented. Time and again, they were suppressed. Time and again, brave witnesses have come forward to expose this suppression. Time and again, many of those witnesses died before they could testify. NASA says we should trust them, but not whistleblowers. But how can we trust NASA when we know for a fact that they alter images? I did a whole episode on how NASA photoshopped pictures of Mars and the Earth, and some of their editing was pretty sloppy.
NASA Mars cover-up link down the alley, Sally.
In 1994, the Clementine orbiter took 2 million pictures of the moon's surface. When they were released to the public, people started noticing that many of them had sections that were blurred out. Here's an image of the Zeeman crater. Clearly, something is being censored. When other images of the crater were overlapped, compressed, and compared, it became obvious that something was there. This became known as the Zeeman object. Some people think this object is a giant spacecraft as large as a city. It's thought to be a ship because another picture of the Zeeman crater has been censored and shows a different object. When compared, overlapped, and enhanced, there appears to be another large ship. Now, don't bother looking for the censored images on NASA's website. They're gone. Other anomalies have been spotted like giant footprints. Scientists have tried to explain them away as meteor impacts, but that's probably not what they are.
These structures that we see stretching over tens of kilometers across the lunar surface do not appear to be related to impact cratering processes.
Pyramids have been found on the moon's surface, obelisks and mile-high towers. As recently as 2021, China's moon rover took a picture of what's been called a mystery hut. NASA has explanations for all of these. They're tricks of the light, or pareidolia, where your mind sees an object in randomness, like a cloud shaped like an animal. Now, of course, we could know for sure if we would actually visit these structures, but there doesn't seem to be an appetite for that. Before the lunar missions, both the US and Russia planned to establish military bases on the moon. The original plan for the moon was not exploration, but weaponization. The US called its plan Project Horizon. And let me know if you want to see a full episode about this. It's pretty intense.
This trip's going to be a little less intense. Intense. Get
Intense.
it?
If you live anywhere in this part of the United States, you are about to experience a historic winter storm. The most intense Arctic blast of the season is about to meet with rich Gulf moisture, which will create a very powerful winter storm, which will lead to major impacts from Texas to the East Coast Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And here's the biggest problem. This winter storm will be very slow moving, which means heavy snow and ice will accumulate fast, leading to potentially historic amounts. Models are showing the potential for over a foot of snow deep into the southern United States, including Oklahoma City, Little Rock, and Memphis, setting the stage for major travel problems that could last for days. A scenario that almost always leads to widespread power outages and long-lasting infrastructure damage. This is very concerning as temperatures are forecasted to stay below freezing beginning Friday and Saturday and won't be above freezing again until at least Monday or Tuesday. That means any ice or snow that accumulates might not melt for at least 3 days. This is going to be a very chaotic winter storm, so make sure you're following me here and subscribe to our YouTube channel Max Velocity for the latest weather updates and live coverage of this winter storm.
Just trying to keep y'all covered. It's going to be a fun couple of days, but I got you covered.
Just a little reminder, guys. There was a custom painting in Epstein's home of George Bush flying a little toy airplane into 2 Jenga towers. Do not forget this picture. Remember this picture. Do not forget this ever. 900,000 direct deaths from the global war on terror. 38 million people displaced from their homes.
What do you do though? Are you a singer?
Yeah, I'm a singer.
Are you trying to get on a beat?
Yeah, sure. I do like alternative indie. I just came off my lunch break and then I saw you guys and I was like, no, I have to say something.
Hell yeah.
I'm just starting.
What were you doing before?
Like customer service stuff. I just do music on the side.
That's super dope. Do you want to hum a little melody for a starting point?
Sure.
Okay, I like that.
Real indie.
All I wanna do is grow with you. Can I call you mine? Are you trying? Are you trying? I'm walking through the waves, feeling like I'm crazy over you. Can't you see? Everything I do always ends up hurting you. Makeup on your cashmere sweater, think you're wearing it for the weather, leaving it for you to think of me. Can't you see?
Wow.
Can't you see?
I know I say wow a lot, but dang.
Everything I do always ends up hurting you.
Oh wow. I love it. Have a good day, y'all. Well, hey, thank y'all so much for tuning in to another Bryce's Right today. I hope y'all have a great freaking day. Get ready for that colder weather, or at least prepare. Make sure you got what you need. Your electricity bill paid, whatever it is, a coat, a heater. Just make sure you got some airflow. But other than that, thank y'all for joining today. I hope y'all have a good one. I've been, going through a journey. I've, gotten that negativity down and frustration, the spazzing moments. I've just eliminated so many, and it's been so powerful. I don't know. I'm trying to get it all together so I can explain it better for y'all and help more people, but it's still a journey. But stay tuned, Y'all know what to do. Go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, so you don't miss out on any future content, and please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let us know what's up. Other than that, we will see you next time. Alright, y'all. Peace.
It's beautiful. Just because you put your finger in your belly button, brown shit comes out, don't mean it's your asshole. What did you say?